Here we are, morning all, Webby Sports Roundup. One of my very, very special guests. I did say I was going to get him on the show. It's a Saturday morning after the Cyprus-Scotland game, and we've got him on. The main man from Kilsyth, the butcher, Big John. John, my boy.
Morning, Moira.
How are you, big man?
How are you? I'm fine.
Did I get you out of bed, son?
Yes.
And you got, and you got me out of bed as well. Oh, I had a bit of a late night. Wasn't just tired. After all these vlogs I'm doing with all these people, they all want to be interviewed and so forth. Listen, we've talked about him for long enough. Put him on the show quite a few times, a bit of a now we've actually got him on the show, so we're going to have a little bit of a talk about Rangers Football Club. And look, I'm wearing blue, which is a bit of respect for the Rangers Football Club. Big John's got his Rangers football top on, and he's here for a few days having a bit of a Johnny.
Yes, having a bit of a holiday, a bit of a rest for a few days.
Yeah, okay, right. Let's get stuck into this, John. Let's talk about, well, I always, when I interview my good friends and pals, I always like to know, I'm rattling now, like to know where and why you started with Rangers Football Club, from your family. A bit of history, please, John.
Yes, through the family and through my dad. Being young, you're born into Rangers Football Club. You become a supporter when you're born into it. And for the rest of my days, I've followed the famous Glasgow Rangers from a very young age up until the age I'm at just now.
Yeah.
Also a few of my family as well, and also the boys who we all drink with all together. We have a group there where we keep in contact with our own football group for all the Rangers chat.
Fantastic. Any names we got to mention? But we'll have a bit of a shout out.
Yes, Big Billy and John, Neil and Uber John. We all go watch the games together. Andrew as well.
Yeah.
Mostly when the European games and that are on, we go to the club, watch them in the club.
Okay.
We don't try and miss any of the home or away games in Europe when we all get together.
I'm assuming you got a season ticket, John.
No, no. John's just recently purchased a season ticket.
Yeah.
Very hard. You're on the list for the season tickets. They're very, very difficult to get. A long list, probably about 15,000 to maybe 16,000 on the list waiting on season tickets.
Yeah.
So it's a long waiting list for him to come round.
Yeah, for sure. Do you know? I've not checked it out. Is there with Ibrox? Is there any way that they can increase capacity? Is there anything in the line of increasing capacity or not?
There's nothing at the moment increase the capacity. I don't think they could really complete. Probably could fill in maybe one more of the corners or two more of the corners to increase the capacity.
Yeah.
But the viewing from the corners would be very restricted.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. What I don't like at the moment, obviously, again, I've just been a football fan, is this thing with the Old Firm game with Celtic, Rangers, then you're not allowing them in and they're not allowing you in to the game. I watched the game last week. Well, I didn't watch all of it. I thought it was what it was. It wasn't very, very clever. And there's no away support. The atmosphere is not the same, is it?
No, I believe you should have away support to have the atmosphere and the banter and the patter there, and so you can get to each other. It makes it a better atmosphere at the games.
Yeah, of course.
But I think that'll change before the end of the season.
Yeah, we hope so.
The home and away fans, both games.
It's all political in the end of the day, John. Now, you had a great finish to last season, couldn't catch Celtic. Celtic are the champions, so you need to turn it around. They won the treble, so you need to turn it all around now, because the main thing is you were in the Champions League and you've been knocked out of that already. You did beat PSV Eindhoven. They're a top side from Holland. You drew 2-2 apiece.
2-2 apiece. We went to Eindhoven and the game just seemed to fall apart round about us. Being in the European Cup, Winners' Cup group stages and getting through to get into the group stage is very, very difficult. You come against top teams in Europe and
yeah.
Okay, we've dropped down to the Europa League, where I'd probably say that's more a level of football in the Europa League rather than in the Champions League side of things.
We've got Liverpool in that. Obviously, they had a poor season last year, never finished in the top four, so you drop into the Europa League. And we had a good talk with Paul Stewart, as you know, that
yes.
That interview I had with Paul a few weeks ago, that actually went viral all across the world. Hopefully this is going to do the same. I went to Australia, to North America, and the situation with that is because you haven't got the money to spend, therefore you can't pay 50, 100 grand a week, and the players are not going to come to you, are they?
No. I mean, the money situation that we've got, we're in a budget where we're in the Scottish Football League. I dare say if we had the money that you have in English football leagues and you can buy the players there, we would compete probably in the top league, in the Premiership in England. You'd be able to afford to buy better players because of the money you get in the English league. But unfortunately, we're not in that league.
Do you think it will ever happen, the two big boys coming in the Premiership, or is it a hope so?
I don't think it'll ever happen in my lifetime, but maybe with years to come it could possibly happen.
Yeah. I probably agree with that, but I'd love the Rangers Celtic to come down and get the money and try against the big boys of Liverpool, United, Arsenal, Tottenham, Man City. Be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yes.
And the crowds, the atmosphere.
It'd be unbelievable, yes.
You bring Rangers Celtic fans come down, wherever they went, they take over the place, wouldn't they?
They'd be there in the thousands. I mean, if both clubs follow each other, and if the fans follow them all over the country.
Yeah.
So there'd be massive crowds.
With regards to the SPL of end of last year, as I said, that you had a great run in, but you were too far behind to catch the boys of Celtic, so they won the treble, which is the League Cup and your FA Cup. Now already Celtic has lost to Kilmarnock on their synthetic pitch, so they're out of the League Cup already, so they cannot do the treble. You're still in all three, obviously irrespective that the FA Cup haven't started yet, so you've got a great chance. But philosophically, what chance do you think of getting this SPL League back? You're 4 points adrift. You lost last week to Celtic. It wasn't a good game.
It wasn't a good game. At the end of the day, VAR, it's there for a reason. And I believe that some of the reasons it's there for don't merit the respect that they're doing them for.
Yeah.
The referees go, they look at the screens, they do this, they do that, they listen to the fourth official, they listen to the VAR official.
Yeah.
And then the chop off goals, which in our eyes would be definitely fine. As going forward with the game against Kilmarnock and then Celtic getting put out against Kilmarnock.
That's right.
On the rubber pitch there down at Kilmarnock again, to me these pitches shouldn't be allowed within the Premiership football. These pitches should be banned. Great to see Celtic going out the cup. Gives Rangers a big chance of winning silverware, which Rangers need to be doing. We need to be winning silverware. Again, we need to be pushing all the time. There will be points lost and dropped by both teams this season. It won't just be a bit like last season where I would have said it came down to the Rangers Celtic games. I think this season both teams will drop points and pick up points as we go throughout the season. Hopefully within the next few weeks Celtic drop more points and we can push back up to the top.
I think while they're still in the Champions League, then they've got more chance of injuries and so on and so forth. But I don't think their squads is as good as last year, Ted. You've both had big changes. You've had 8, 9, 10 players. Your Morales is gone. Your Ryan Kent is gone. He's gone to Turkey. There's a lot of changes, and you've got to beat. Because if you take who's second and third in the league now, you've got Motherwell undefeated and St Mirren undefeated. Now they were not there last year, were they? No. Where's that come from?
I don't know where it came from. With all the changes Celtic's made and Rangers have made, I mean, in the Scottish Premier League, you're expected to hit the ground running. We've not come out hitting the ground running yet so far. We have got players there who are capable of it and more than capable of doing it. And we just need to gel a bit more. And maybe we don't have the time because we're 4 points behind.
That's right.
So we need to come out the traps after the break here, an international break, and we need to be onwards and upwards. A full team fit and everybody pushing hard.
It's as good as anybody in the league.
We're playing a bit narrow just now. I would say we're playing narrow from the back.
Yeah.
I think we need to play with a bit more width.
Yeah.
And hopefully that can come.
Well, you've got St Johnstone next week on Saturday. They've played 4, drew 2, lost 2. So that's a chance to get back to winning ways. To get 3 points and start creeping up the league again. Yes,
3 points on the board for St Johnstone, and then let's move on from there. And then the next Old Firm game, hopefully we can pick up the 3 points there. But by that time, hopefully the Celtic have maybe dropped a couple of points again, and then we can push on from there.
Again, as you say, going back to synthetic pitches, we've had them at QPR, Luton, Oldham. I think Luton was the first one. I think it was a case of the weather, but the weather has changed again, isn't it? With climate changes, years and years ago, you watch a game, Leeds, Chelsea, many years ago, and the pitch was muddy, it was horrible.
That's correct.
But the weather's changing now, isn't it?
That's right.
It's not getting those pitches.
No, and the problem in these synthetic pitches is the ball doesn't bounce the way it should ball, and it doesn't just bounce the way it should bounce. it rolls. It keeps on the surface quite a lot. It holds up quite a lot, and there's a lot of bad tackles happen in the synthetic pitches.
Yeah.
I mean, players can't pull out the same or go in the same, and you get a lot of injuries on them. I mean, years gone by, when you, as you said there, Webby, you played in the grass, you played in the muddy pitches, you played in the rain, you know, and we got on with it. But nowadays, modern day football is different from way back then.
It is.
Yeah.
It is a lot different. I know what you mean, but the point of the question, I'm not for it. So I must admit, it's they say it's the same for both teams, but if you've got a team that's more technical, more this and what have you, they're not going to play the same. They're used to it every other week, aren't they?
Yes.
They play to it every week.
Yes.
And obviously the other clubs don't. So good luck to another one. And good luck St Mirren, a big pal. I've not met him yet. He's a big YouTube blogger. Kevin the Scotsman. He's a massive St Mirren fan. So I'll see you over here, Kevin, very, very soon. The other thing I wanted to talk about, the manager. Now, Michael Beale, I've checked things out. Michael Beale, his credentials were limited. He didn't really play, obviously when he was young, just youth team. Never played in top teams. He was at QPR and Rangers under Stevie G. And then they gave him the management. When I see him on the sideline, he doesn't look as if he is a Rangers manager. He doesn't give me confidence.
I totally agree with you there, Webby. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Michael Beale. I did see it last season as well. I think as Michael Beale, he was a man behind the training ground at Rangers Football Club. As a manager, it's different coming in to be a manager as being a coach when you're in the training ground. He went to QPR, he won 7-8 games in a trot with QPR, and then he was touted to come to Rangers as a manager. Ideally, is he the right man? Well, I don't think so. I would like to see us moving on and moving upwards. As a coach, probably a fantastic coach on the training ground, but when you're in the training ground and when you're at the side of the pitch, it's two different things. Tactically, he's not on the touchline shouting and screaming and waving his hands and dictating and ordering the team what to do. He tends to sit down quite a lot and sit there. You know, I think he needs to be more involved at the side of the pitch.
Listen, you and I know we watched a lot of football games. Sometimes you will see a coach just sat there. Some will be on the front like your Klopp, and they'll be out there screaming, shouting Arteta and whatever. Sometimes it's good for the players, and sometimes it's not. It puts pressure on some of the players sometimes. So we on the sideline, we just want to see the passion, don't we? We want to see it there.
Yes. And he's not showing the passion that, Stevie G showed or Van Bronckhorst showed. I mean, he's probably got the passion. Is he frightened because the players aren't doing on the pitch at the moment, which hopefully we can only improve from that. I mean, the passion's got to be there. You've got to be playing for the jersey. You've got to be 100% every game. You've got to come out there and have a bit of fight, have a bit of dig. Our strikers haven't gelled. We're not scoring the goals we should be scoring.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, to me, if Rangers had the money, I would have personally went out there and burst the bank and bought Lawrence Shankland from Hearts. Unfortunately, obviously he sees something there that we don't see.
Sure.
We gave away a striker last season who scored 16, 17 goals. Okay, he wasn't one of the top players. We gave away Kolak. He was there, he could put the ball in the net. Unfortunately, at this moment in time, we've not got a player who's putting the ball in the net every week for us. And hopefully Danilo and Dessers or Lammers can step up to that mark and let's go forward and let's keep pushing forward.
I mean, I didn't realise how big these two clubs are, your Rangers, Celtic. You know, obviously I've been here many years, I've had me pubs and I've had a lot of football players and various supporters coming into the pubs and what have you. And since I've retired and I've been down, I've watching this and watching that, and I've met a lot of Scottish people. The passion, it's an institute. It's not just a football club. You wake up in the morning Rangers, you eat Rangers, you bleed Rangers, you go to bed Rangers, don't you? It's an institute, John, isn't it?
Yes.
It really is.
There's passion every day because you lift the paper or you read into it or you read into the media. You're looking for this, you're looking for that, you're looking for something different, you're waiting for it to happen. So
there was I don't know if you heard, I do a little bit, I watch a few blogs on. I put Derek on there, and I know who he is now. There was one of the radio stations back in Scotland, and he came on 2 or 3 days ago after the IBAN against Celtic, and he went absolutely ballistic on the phone, and they couldn't stop him talking. Why is this? And he was on again this morning. I checked it, and that's the reason why I put it. He was and they just loved it, and that's gone viral, absolutely, because it was just he couldn't go to sleep. Yeah, he couldn't sleep because you lost the Celtic first home game in the game against Celtic. You know what I mean? That must be horrendous for you, losing that game.
Well, it was a massive lose for us. I mean, we had to go out there and win the first game, the first Old Firm game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, down to refereeing decisions and VAR, I would say was totally against it.
We have 2 goals disallowed.
Two goals disallowed. As the game went on, I would say Rangers were the better team in the game.
Yeah, you're right.
Celtic scored a goal right on the stroke of half time, which to me looked a bit offside. Again, there was no VAR looked into it. Nobody complained. I don't think the players complained enough.
They didn't.
Nobody complained enough for the referee to go to VAR, and we take it on the chin. And then the second half we came out. We had 2 or 3 chances. Again, we couldn't get the ball in the net. We couldn't finish. And this is all counts. The ball's got to be in the net, and that's where
that's where you were last week. So at least you know you're not a million miles away from them. So it was just a 1-0. When the next one, I don't know when the next one is. Because you play 4 times a year.
4 times a year.
2 home, 2 away. So you've got 3 more chances to turn them over, haven't you?
Yes.
Over to Scotland again last night. He plays Cyprus in the European Cup finals next year, 2024. You've won 5 on the bounce. You've got to Cyprus, and what happened, John?
We go to Cyprus. We win 3-0. John McGinn scored a fantastic goal for the 3rd goal. Onwards and upwards for Scotland. Steve Clark's doing a fantastic job there at the moment.
Yes.
It'd be great to be in the Euros 24. It'd be the first competition we've been in for many years, and to be at top of the group at this stage, 15 points and probably sitting well clear in the group is absolutely fantastic for Scotland.
Absolutely. But you beat Spain, didn't you?
Yes.
So they're second. So you it looks as if you're going to win the league.
Yes.
So you're going to be basically 100%. You go to 2024. You're in the Europeans next year. You will take that army of. You know what I mean? I can just see it now.
Oh, we'll be marching down the road.
Oh, John, honestly, I love to be there one day. Honestly, God, it's absolutely fantastic. Right, that's it. And listen, the other thing is, my friend, this Tuesday, there's never a friendly. Even my missus says, Webby, there's never a friendly. England, Scotland on Tuesday. I think it's 150th anniversary, if I remember. So I think my number 2 Tony was telling me. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's a friendly against Scotland. 8 o'clock kickoff, I believe. Is it going to be a friendly?
Scotland-England game's never a friendly. It's always the old enemy, and you go out there with all the passion in your heart, and you go out there to win. So to me, no, a friendly's never a friendly.
No.
You go out there with all your heart and all your guts. You fight to your blood's boiling.
Yeah, for sure. So that'll be a big game. Yeah. Obviously, we're not going to talk about England because obviously, your Rangers, your Scotland, it is what it is. Now, away from football, you've got a bit of a business. Now, I've given you a few shouts and we've loved it, haven't we? They've come walking into your business. Oh, Big John, heard you on Webby's Sports Roundup and what have you. Tell the people what you got and where you are, John.
Yes, I manage the butchers, the cross butchers in Kilsyth, and the main street in Kilsyth. We're the only butchers there in Kilsyth at the moment. Yes, I've had 2 or 3 people in who watches Webby's Sports channel. I've also been stopped in the street with a couple of old ladies who said to me, "Oh, I seen you in Tenerife on Webby's Sports channel, boom." And I says, "I'll need to phone him." And a big mention to Gary, Gary comes in and he watches Webby's Sports channel back home as well.
Hi, Gary.
Fantastic to know that it is out there and it gets round, and the more people who subscribe for free and watch it, the better. Also in the club, if it's the people who run the Rangers supporters bus there, and some of the local guys who go to all the Rangers games there come up and mention it to me in the club as well. Fantastic.
You're famous, son. You're famous. So what's the club? Where's the club you go to?
The Park Foot Social Club.
What's it called?
Park Foot Social Club.
Park, P-A-R-K.
Foot Social.
Park Foot Social Club. So if you're around there, pop in, see who's in charge, who runs it.
Zabri runs it behind the bar. The local Rangers bus, the Rangers supporters bus leaves from there for all the games.
Gotcha. So is that far from your home?
It's only 5 minutes from home.
5 minutes from home, and your butchers is well.
5 minutes from home as well.
And what's your butcher's called?
The Cross Butchers.
The Cross. Is that CROSSE, isn't it?
CROSS.
CROSS. Cross Butcher. So if you're in Cross Butcher, now we did discuss about getting a bit of a discount, but I'm sure he's turned it around. But we were talking 10. Somebody made a message to me. He said, "Well, he never give me 10." What he does, he puts the price up 10% and he drops it 10, as if you're getting a good deal. Now listen, we're going for more for this time. Look at that's why he's smiling. Hey, unbelievable. Come on, John, tell him.
Anybody who comes in who watches Webby's Sports Channel and mentions it to me or mentions it to any of the staff that they watch Webby's Sports Channel, they'll receive 10% off their order for
a free sausage. You get a free sausage. Unbelievable. Right, listen, John. I've had a cracking few minutes. I don't think we've got anything else to talk about. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, I'm finished.
Right, all right. What I want you to do is any more mentions, your family to say hello to. I know you've got grandchildren, new ones, and there's going to be lots more on the way. I haven't told you that, sorry. And you're a good lady. Come on.
Yeah, so I'll shout out to my family, my boy, and my grandkids.
Names?
Cindy and Dale, and my grandkids, Mila, Archie, Blair and Madden, and also a big shout out to all the boys who we go and sit and watch the games with every week at the club, to Billy, John, Andra, and Uber John and Neil, and hope to see you all soon when I'm back home.
And what about the big man?
The big man.
What you know what I mean.
The biggest shout out to all. It's got to be Webby, absolute gentleman.
I met Ian.
And also Ian, my best friend, who lets me come over to his apartment and stay in Tenerife. Also to Jane as well, his lovely wife.
Yeah, they are lovely. Thanks for that. But all I can say, man, there's me hand, there's me heart. Thank you very much indeed. That will be fantastic. That's a cracking little interview, that really, really is. We will get that out through you, through Paul Stewart. We're going to have Paul Stewart on next couple of weeks, talking about the SPL League, the Scotland-England game, etc., etc. And hopefully Rangers can start getting a bit closer to Celtic and so forth. Motherwell, St Mirren, St Johnstone, Kilmarnock, the Jambos. Hibbies are having a bit of a bad run, aren't they?
Yes.
All these clubs. Ross County, have I missed any?
Yeah.
That's all the SPL leagues. And I want a big shout to my good pal Liam Grimshaw, who now plays for Dundee United. Lovely fella, speak to him every week. He was the ex-Man United under-21 captain. He went to Preston, to Motherwell. He's now at Dundee United, and they are top of the table. Big shout out to you. Right, here we go. Sunshine here in south of Tenerife. I'm off to watch the England game tonight at 5 o'clock. A few bottles of Heineken down the Three Horseshoes. If anybody's down there, come with me. Come and have a couple of beers with me. If you like what you hear and you like what you see, you know it makes sense. Subscribe to Webby Sports Roundup. It is all for free. From Big John, from Big Webby, over and out. And I'll speak to you very, very soon. Take care.